Dear students, let us continue our discussion with Democratic Politics, Unit 2, Federalism. We are going to discuss these three important concepts in this lesson. Is vertical division of power sharing, policies and politics that has strengthened federalism, and local government, which is also referred as third tier or third level of the government. First, let us understand the concept of federalism from historical point of view. And let me recall Belgium. In Belgium, central government reduced power and gave to state government after making amendments from 1970s to 1993. Belgium earlier was a unitary government. Later on, Belgium has become federal government. Earlier, regional governments have received and given powers to central government. Earlier, state governments or the regional government received order from the central government, and central government can pass the order to state government. But when Belgium has become federal government, and they got separate powers from central government. In 1993, regional government got constitutional powers in Belgium. Then Belgium became unitary to federal government. This is one historical context. Next, what happened in Sri Lanka? In Sri Lanka, national government has all the powers. Hence, a Sri Lankan government can be referred as unitary government. And Tamil leaders' demand was federal government. They wanted separate powers to be given to them. And how we can define federalism? Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between central authority and various constituent units of the country. And these various constituent units of the country are also referred as state governments. And central government normally in federal countries keep national important subjects with themselves. State governments have been given day-to-day administering and local or state important subjects. Look at this map, and you can see federal political system in red color. Though only 25 of the world's 193 countries have federal political systems, their citizens make up 40% of the world's population. And most of the large countries of the world are federations. And we can see from Russia, Austria, India, Australia, Malaysia, UAE, South Africa, Nigeria, Spain, Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, Bosnia, Brazil, Argentina, USA, Canada. These are all the important federal countries in the world. Let us understand unitary government and federal government. Unitary government, one level or other levels or subunits are subordinate to central government. Try to understand one important aspect here. In unitary government, it doesn't mean that there is only one level of government. There can be a presence of more than one levels of government. And central government can pass order to those sub-levels are the regional governments, and central government can pass orders to state governments. Those state governments or the other levels of governments are present in unitary government, they do not have separate powers. So one important thing to notice here, unitary government doesn't mean there is only one level of government. There can be more than one level of government, but powers are with one level of government, that is central government. In federal government, central government cannot pass an orders, and state government have own powers and not answerable to central government. In federal government, central government has separately given powers to state governments, and state governments look into those powers. And here, central government cannot pass orders to state government. And what are the key features of federalism? How these federal countries look like? First one, there are two or more levels of government. For any federal government, minimum more than one level is required. That is, two or more levels of government is required. Can be central, state, central government, and state government. Two levels are required. And different tier or different level has its own jurisdiction. If there is a central government and state government, they have their own jurisdiction, the area over which they can have the legal authority in specific matters of legislation, taxation, and administration. The central government subjects are related to central government. Central government can make laws and decide the taxes and decide the administration structure in the central subjects. Next, jurisdictions are specified in the constitution. Uh, their central government and state government jurisdictions are clearly mentioned in the constitutions. And the fundamental provisions of the constitutions cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of the government. Central government alone cannot make some fundamental provisions without the consent of state government. This is the another important aspect of federalism. And if there are any disputes or if there are any differences, the courts have the power to interpret the constitution of powers of different levels of the government. Normally, the Supreme Court has the power. And the most important thing is the sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. The sources of revenue for central government, sources of revenue for state government are clearly mentioned in the constitution. And the federal government has two objectives. First one, to safeguard and promote unity of the country, as they have given separate power to state government or the regional government. It should not end with disintegration in the country. That giving powers to state governments or the regional governments or the state government should promote the unity of the country, as central government has decided to accommodate, respect, and uh, give power, separate powers to the state units. Next, regional diversity and central government at the same time respect the regional. These are the seven important the features of federalism. Next question is, which level of government is more powerful? Central government is more powerful or the state government is more powerful? How the power is balanced between central government and the state government? To understand this question, we need to understand how these federations have been formed. And there are two different ways of the formation of different federal countries. The first one is called coming together federations. I had written USA in bracket because this USA constitute of three countries name. One is USA stands for USA country itself. S stand for Switzerland. A stand for Australia. And what happened in these countries, America, Switzerland, Australia? Here, states are coming together on their own to form a bigger unit. The very important thing to notice here is the state governments have formed the central government. It is not the central government which has formed the state governments. States have decided to come together to form a bigger unit. The very objective of this is pooling sovereignty and retaining identity, which can increase their security. They want to pool the sovereignty. They feel a bigger unit, they feel a better unit, they feel a powerful unit when they come together. And because of that, state government have created the central government in these countries. And here also there is a distribution of powers, but it is not the central government which has given powers to the state government, but the state governments have given powers to the central government. It is the state government which has created the central government. And these federations are called coming together federations. And these kinds of federations, state governments have equal powers as they have created the central government. And the states are stronger in relations to federal government. In fact, in federal country, in true sense, federal country means there should be equal distribution of powers. And with that respect, states are stronger in coming together federations compared to central government. Next, we have holding together federations. Example, Spain, Belgium, India. In these federations, large countries like India have decided to divide its power to state governments. And as state government has created the state government, central government has created the state government, central government tend to be more powerful in these countries. And let me make another important point here. India, though India is referred as a federal country, but if you look at the nature of distribution of powers or the balance of power between central and state government, India can be referred as quasi-federal, QUASI, no, quasi-federal, because in quasi-federal, central government tend to have more power than state governments. Next question comes, what makes a India a federal country? We call India as a federal country. Then, and what makes India a federal country? And let us look at certain points. You know, what about countries, vast countries like India, where you have in Sri Lanka we had only two languages. What about India, where more than 1,600 languages are there, and where you have almost all the religions of the world, and where we have so many regions, regional diversity. In fact, India is called as a subcontinent because of its diversity. And how to handle the things in countries like India. After independence and the princely states became part of India, and constitution declares India as union of states. Indian union is based on principles of federalism, and constitution makers in the beginning itself have given no powers to the state government. India was a federal country from the beginning. And if you look at those futures which we discussed just now, the futures of federalism, two or more levels of government, they have separate jurisdictions, and court can interpret the issues of the uh, powers of the different levels of government. If you look at that, all the features of federalism apply to the provisions of the Indian Constitution. And India has two-tier system of government. Even third tier is added recently. No, it was there, but it has been given constitutional powers, and even we have separate jurisdiction. And the most important aspect of uh, uh, federal, powers with India is the division of powers. The constitution has clearly divided the powers between union government and state governments. Let us see the important powers given to different levels of government. The subjects of national importance have been given to central government, and that list is called as union list. Example, defense. Defense falls under union list. Next, we have foreign affairs. Foreign affairs also uh, comes under central government. Next, we have banking. Next, we have communication. Next, we have currency. No, all those, no, there are more than 100 subjects. All those subjects belong to central government. And some of the important subjects which are given to state government are police, trade, commerce, agriculture, irrigation. These subjects are given to state governments. Concurrent list. The that is third list, which is also called as concurrent list. In this list, the subjects are shared between central and state, and central government can have their own powers and education, forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, succession. Getting these are all comes under concurrent list. If their laws are conflict with each other, the law made by the union government prevails. Education is in concurrent list. We have CBSE schools and state board schools. Forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, succession. And there are some subjects which do not fall in any of three lists because those subjects have been recently developed. Example, information technology. After constitution, computer software is introduced. Indian government has the power to legislate on these powers, and because of that, they are also called as residuary powers. Residuary powers are given to union list. And remember, these subjects are not included in any of the three lists. They are not there in union list, state list, and concurrent list. And those subjects have been given power to union government, and those subjects are called as residuary powers. Sharing of power between central government and state government is a basic structure to the uh, Indian constitution. It is not easy to change power sharing arrangement. If there are any disputes among power sharing, they are attended by High Court and Supreme Court. Next question is, how is federalism practiced? Constitutional provisions are necessary but not sufficient for the success of federalism. We can make many laws, we can make many acts, but acts are necessary but not sufficient for the practice of federalism. Real success depends on the nature of democratic politics, how the politics is practiced in the country. The spirit of federalism, the respect for diversity, and desire for living together became shared ideals in our country. And these other factors are also equally important to practice federalism in our country. And there are some major ways in which this has happened in India. First one is linguistic states. We'll see how linguistic states have been formed in India. Next, we discuss language policy, and next we have center-state relations. Let us see what we can say that the important developments in the formation of states in India. Formation of states on the basis of language was the first major test for democratic politics. And if you look at the map of 1947, that is entirely different from 2013 map, where states, areas, and boundaries have been changed. You can see in 1947, it is West Pakistan. We have Rajputana, Punjab, United Province. Madhya Pradesh was called Central India, and we have central provinces, Hyderabad, Mysore, Bombay provinces, then Orissa provinces. No, this is how India was named in 1947 before the formation of states. And the question comes, what should be the base for creation of new states? It was a testing time for national leaders. Even they do had a fear in mind. If the states are formed, that should not be results in disintegration of the country. And that fear was there in their mind. Because of that, they have registered for some time to form the states on different grounds. But finally, the national leaders have created the states on different grounds. First one, you can see language. Most of the states have been formed on the basis of language. Next, we have culture, ethnicity, or geography. And initially, national leaders have feared, and central government has resisted some time to create new states. Immediately after independence, the states have not been formed. They waited for some time. But after that, the way they have formed the states, they have united India more than creating any panic situation, and administration has become quite easier. And what are the important aspects of formation of state? The most important thing is they give respect to different the languages. On the basis of that, most of the states have been formed, and because of that, that has given the sense of the power and authority, and that has strengthened unity of the country. That is all about the formation of the states. Now let us look at the language policy. You have seen in Sri Lanka, no, Sri Lanka was not able to accommodate two languages. Then what about India, where we have 1600 languages, and how the leaders have taken decisions to accommodate those many languages? The first important aspect is Indian national leaders or the constitutional makers did not give the status of national language to any language. Though Hindi, 40% of the people do speak in Hindi as their mother tongue, it is being considered as only an official language. And this decision is taken to safeguard and to protect the other languages. Along with Hindi and 21 other languages have been given a status of scheduled languages in the constitution. They have been mentioned in constitution as scheduled languages. And for central department exams, you one can write their exams in any of these 22 languages. And states have been allowed to have their own official language in their respective states. This is the language policy followed in India by national leaders. The important scheduled languages are Assamese, Bengali, Bodo, Dogri, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Maithili, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Oriya, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Santhali, Sindhi, and Tamil, Telugu, and Urdu. These are the 22 scheduled languages which are being mentioned in the constitution. Next, we have center-state relations. And before that, let us add few more points here. In 1965, central government has stopped using English for office purpose. And non-Hindi states have demanded English to continue, and central government agreed. And especially in Tamil Nadu, has favored English-speaking environment there. And the government is promoting Hindi as an official policy. And this flexibility shown by the national leaders in India avoided the possible conflict and tension on the basis of languages in India. Next, we are going to discuss about center-state relations, and this is very important aspect. Restructuring center-state relations. Power sharing arrangements depends on ruling party and leaders. What kind of ruling party and what kind of leaders we have, and they are going to decide the nature of power sharing. In India, long time the same party was in central and state government. You know that Indian National Congress was an important the party in our country for the first 4 decades, because it plays a vital role in the freedom movement, and it was the one of the most important party both at central and state government. And state government did not exercise their rights as autonomous federal units in the initial years, because ruling party in central government undermined the power of the states. And central government misuse the constitution to dismiss the powers of the state government. As you know, in state and central, both the side, the same party is there. The party can take decision in its favor. But this scenario has been changed after 1990 with the rise of regional parties. After 1990s, it is said to be a beginning of era of coalition government. No national party is able to form a government in central uh, level without the coalition of regional parties or state parties, and that has given a lot of respect to the state parties or the state government. And Supreme Court judgment to control the power of the central government to dismiss the powers of the state government is an important development to protect the rights of state governments. And federal power sharing is more effective today than it was in the early years after constitution came into force because of the rise of regional parties, or what we can say that state parties. We shall discuss decentralization in India. Decentralization is nothing but giving powers to the third level of the government in the country. When power is taken away from central and state government and given to the local government, it is called as decentralization. India is a very vast country. It is so vast that the population of Uttar Pradesh even is more than Russia, and Maharashtra is almost equivalent to Germany. And states are internally very diverse in India. And because of that, there was a need of third level of government. And in fact, third level of government was present in India, but it was not organized and effective until 1992 because they have not been given separate powers and resources. And why uh, we need to give powers to the local government? What is the basic idea behind decentralization? One important aspect is problems and issues are best settled at local level. The people, the local people know their problems better, even they know the solutions better also. And they have better knowledge and idea about their particular issues. And the most important thing is people directly participate in decision making at the root level. And this can inculcate the habit of democratic participation, the people involvement in the social issues, in the social problems, discussion of the problem, and finding the solutions and attending the problems. These are all important exercises in democratic countries like India. And when separate powers have been given to the local government, that has cultivated the habit of democratic participation at root level. What is the need for power sharing? Local, because local governments were under the control of state government till 1992, and elections were not held regularly for local government, and no power and resources were given for local government. And what happened after 1992? 1992 is an important year for empowerment of local government in India. And after 1992, the many reforms have been taken that have those reforms have been strengthened the way local governments have been functioning in India. The first important the thing after 1992 amendment was it was mandatory to hold regular elections for local government. The state election commission supposed to conduct or held elections for local government regularly every 5 years, and seats are reserved for SC, ST, and OBC. And one third of seats are reserved for women in local government. And in fact, some states have extended that one third to 50%. And state election commission can conduct elections, and state government share power and resources to the local government. This is The picture of local government in India after 1992 constitutional amendment. The structure of local government in India is separate in rural areas and urban areas. Urban areas, local government is divided into three parts, and rural areas, local government is divided into three parts. Very interestingly, the number of representatives in local government is around 36 lakh. The number is higher than few countries' total population of Europe. And that is a big number because India constitutes more than 5 lakh villages and we have 36 lakh representatives in local government. That is the biggest the local government setup in the world. So we divide the local government in rural areas into three parts: Gram Panchayat, Taluka Panchayat, and Jilla Panchayat. This is a structure of local government in rural areas. In urban areas, it is Nagar Sabha, Municipal Council, and Municipal Corporation. A constitutional status for local government has helped to deepen democracy in our country. When the constitution has provided the space for local government, that is also referred as Grama Swaraj in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, and giving powers to local government, local people, it creates lot of uh, the sense of pride and sense of the importance to the rural areas. And India is basically 70% of India lies in rural areas. And when you give powers to the local government, that is strengthening or empowering the rural areas. That is why that has helped India to deepen democracy in our country, and that is very important aspect. And most state governments have not transferred, but still there are some issues to be addressed here. Many state governments have not transferred significant powers and resources to the local government. It is an area of concern which different state government need to address. There's still a long way from realizing the ideal of self government. Because of these issues, still different state governments need to pass and need to give the powers to the state local government and resources to the local government, and to strengthen and empower the local governments in India. And still there is uh, a lot of space for improvement and strengthening of local government in India. So this is a conclusion of what we can say, that local government in India. And let us conclude federalism here. And very soon we discuss NCRT text and questions, solution for text and questions in separate videos. Have a good time. We'll meet next with third lesson in democratic politics.